let the general meet with them, and he, the general, will then report to us. We won't meet him. We won't meet with Gubis. The general can meet with Gubis, and we will then get a report from the general. Do you remember that? I mean, if you need to check the actual page, it's 155. That's where you forward the general's message about Gubis and Kane wanting a meeting, and the general response.
155, yeah, okay.
And says, let's let general meet him, then he will brief us of the outcomes of the discussion when we meet later in Mfowethu. So when we see this message at page 522, 4 days after that exchange with the general and the CFO, we see a message saying, "Afternoon, Captain, I had a meeting with Kane and those guys today, as I indicated. I've told them they should go back where they've started Mfowethu. I said to him, he's the only gateway, they can't go with a back door. I will only be able to assist if I get an indication from Mfowethu. Protocol must be observed at all cost." That is a reference to the meeting with Gubis and Kane that he was instructed to have without you and without the CFO, and thereafter to report to you. Do you accept that?
No.
Well, I put it to you that denial is a false denial. Let's see what happens after this. Page 178, you forward that exchange with the general. You forward it to the CFO, along with your response, "Nice one, General, let me inform Mfowethu." You see that?
That's correct.
What was nice about the General's response to Kane and those guys? What did you like about it that you wanted to inform Mfowethu?
I think what was nice, it was when the general sent me a message that he said, they must follow protocol. I think protocol is to follow proper channels to go to the offices there at Tshwane.
And in this case, the appropriate person to approach for complaints around this tender was the CFO. Remember, they were complaining about the tender.
Can you repeat that question?
Are you saying that the appropriate person to approach in relation to complaints about the CFO, about the tender, is the CFO? You should go to the CFO if you have a complaint about a tender.
I don't know what is the proper channels to complain about the tender in Tshwane, so I cannot comment on that.
Well, let's go a little bit further. Still on the 27th.
Page?
Same, 179. You've now said, "Nice one, General, let me inform Mfowethu." You've said, "Nice one, General, let me inform Mfowethu," to the General. You forwarded that screenshot to the CFO. And then at screen time 5:49:51, which is 7:49:51, the CFO forwards you a call log that shows 3 calls from Mandla Mqina. Who is Mandla Mqina?
Is someone I know from Soshanguve.
Is he a nephew of Mr. Sibanyoni?
That's correct.
Is he associated with Gubis?
I don't know.
I see. Let's go down to page 181. and we see the CFO forwards you another call log where missed calls from Dlamini are circled. You see it goes over to 182. And you send some laughing emojis saying he's looking for you. I want to put to you that what's happening in this case is that the General has had a meeting with Mr. Mqina in relation to Gubis. He said, don't speak to me, speak to the CFO. The CFO has then approved of that course, and now Mr. Mqina is desperately trying on behalf of Gubis to get hold of the CFO. That's what we're seeing. I put it that to you, that's what we're seeing. You want to comment on that?
I would not comment on...
You can't confirm it?
I'm not going to comment on the missed calls of the CFO.
But you did comment at the time. You sent 4 laughing emojis and the message, he's looking for you.
I'm saying I'm not going to comment on what you said earlier, that the General has turned down Mr. Mqina. Now Mr. Mqina is frustrated. He's calling the CFO, and the CFO don't answer his phone. I'm saying I cannot comment on that.
Well, let's see how you deal with this in relation to the General. Can you go back to, so go down to 608 in file 2.
File 2, 608.
And there you'll see that at 5 to 8 on the night of 27th of March, you forward to the CFO a screenshot of your exchanges you forward to the General a screenshot of your exchanges with the CFO. So it starts with the mini screenshot of the General's exchanges with you that you've sent to the CFO. And the CFO's response, thanks my brother, this is the way, much appreciated, missed call, voice call, and then the missed calls from Dlamini. So you're telling the General that after he indicated to Kane and those guys that they must approach the CFO, Mr. Mqina has been trying hard to get hold of the CFO. Is that not what was happening?
I cannot comment on that.
Now, your version all along as to why you were sending out lists of preferred vehicles is that this was for a third party to check on compliance and that those vehicles were all compliant. Let's go to page 525.
Before you do that, at that page 608, the very last one that you looked at, Sergeant, you don't have to go there. This is the one where you forward these screenshots, including you forward to the General, including the missed calls to the CFO from Mr. Dlamini. Why are you sending this log of missed calls from Mr. Mqina to Mr. Mnisi? Why are you sending this to General Dlamini?
Okay. I think, can you please Repeat that question, my honorable commissioner.
The page that you were looking at just now, and you don't need to go there.
That's
I'll
correct.
remind you what it is. This is page 608, and this is you forwarding to General Dlamini a screenshot of your exchanges with the CFO, Mr. Mnisi. And the last two screenshots on that page are the missed calls that Mr. Chaskalson has been discussing with you. These are the calls from Mr. Mandla Mgcina. There's two calls, and then there's one missed call. My question is, why are you sending these call logs, these missed calls? Why are you sending that screenshot to General Dlamini?
I can't remember. I think, why did I send them, Commissioner?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr.
So at 5:25, we see that on the 13th of April,
Yes.
in chat 3 and chat 4, the General sends you a preliminary list of non-compliance issues. I'm putting it to you that this is a preliminary list of non-compliance issues with the Ngapesha bid, Ngapeshare. The first is they need a lease agreement for the company and the director for rates and taxes. The second is they need some piece that the tender presumably required relating to the interpretation of the Prevention of Illegal Evictions Act. The third is that they need 3 years financials to be done by an independent auditor and signed or certified that they've been audited. The fourth is that they need a lease agreement for vehicles. They'd apparently submitted a document which was a quotation from Avis, and the tender required an agreement with photographs of vehicles, including a 5-ton truck. The fifth non-compliance was that there was public liability insurance for 10 million that was needed. And underneath this list, he says to you, "Afternoon, Captain, I trust you're well and your family. Please push Becky to submit the above documents." Now, is he saying to you that in order to rectify his non-compliant tender, your brother must now produce those 5 documents? Is that what he was saying?
Interpreter?
Okushoyo wena ukuthi bathi lapha kufanele kube nalawo ma-document asubmithwayo ubhuti wakho kufanele awakhiphe abonise ukuthi baya-complya kunezinto akufanele ba-complya ngazo ezifakwe kuhla lapha ngaphezulu lapho kubhalwe khona lo mlayezo.
Cha.
No.
What was he saying?
Wangabe wayithini-ke manje?
Angisawukhumbuli kahle lo mbuzo or noma lengxoxo ubaba Dlamini owayisenda kimi ukuthi yayichazani kahle kahle.
I can no longer recall this message that Mr. Dlamini sent to me, what it explained.
Well, maybe if you go to the next page, 526, and you see your response to the General, that will help. First message. General, I spoke to Becky now. He tells me he's spoken to Nico when he was busy with documents of El Shaddai. Nico promised to help, but he's no longer answering his phone. Please check, Nico. I will push Becky. These people must know it's one thing, and they must work as a team, not the other way. Please, General, intervene. We can't lose now. We've been waiting for this for a while. What couldn't you lose?
Okay, I think it was with regards to the guy by the name of Nico, who is a tender document specialist with regards to help in terms of the document and the compliance of the said companies.
So Nico was there to ensure that the bids would be compliant. This is now more than 6 months after the deadline for bid submission, and Nico is not helping to fix up potential problems with compliance in your brother's bid. Is that what's happening?
Can you repeat that so that I must answer you accordingly?
Nico was there to assist with compliance.
That's correct.
It is now 6 months since the bid submission deadline. Remember, the bid submission deadline was in October. It's
That's
now
correct.
April. And Nico has still not done what he should have done to ensure that the bid was compliant. Is that correct?
No. To answer that, according to my understanding or little knowledge about the project, once the project has been closed, there is no way that you can submit any further document. In this matter, I think it was another project in Mpumalanga that was to take place. So I'm thinking that it was with this regard where I was talking to the general about pay.
But why would you speak to the general about a project in Mpumalanga?
Remember now, the general has got knowledgeable about security project. That is the reason he referred me to this Nico. So I'm always involving him when it comes to this Nico person.
Well, let's go further, because I think it's fairly clear that the non-compliance was in relation to tender number 1 of 24-25 in Tshwane. But before we go further, just the next chat on that page, the general says, "I spoke to both of them now, Captain." And that screenshot of his phone, you'll see at page 326.
What page?
326, 326. I'm so sorry, it's chat 326, it's page 615. I'm sorry, it's file 2, page 615. I apologize for that. And you'll see that chat is a chat between the general, Becky Fana, who I presume is the general's name for your brother, and Nico Matobela. You see?
That's correct, I see.
And so we can assume that Nico's surname is Matobela, or at least that the general saves him as Nico Matobela.
That's correct.
And now, you said that these exchanges related to a project in Mpumalanga. Can we go to page 228? Do you have 228?
That's correct.
And this is now your chat with the General on the 24th of April. And if you see the message from the General at message time 12:39, which would be 2:39 p.m. on the 24th of April, the General says, Ngapesher is grade B and has nothing in the documents. Mvwetu, please send to US and request him to provide him with information for the correction. We need grade A guards. We need grade A guards. So the General is saying that your brother's bid says only grade B and that the bid that the city needs is grade A. And he's saying, send to the General, request him to provide with information for the correction. So these exchanges about deficiencies in the bid had to do with tender 1 of 24-25, did they not? Do you have an answer to that?
I'm confused, Commissioner Kamala. If maybe my honorable member is asking or is commenting. So that's why I'm listening. What is the next move from here?
To be fair to him, Advocate Jaskalson, you did not invite him to come.
Sorry. Well, I did finish at the end, did they not? Which was a fairly oblique question. Well, I'm putting to you that these deficiencies in the bid that you were talking to the General about were deficiencies in a bid relating to a Tswani tender number 1 of 24-25, which you, the CFO, and the General were hoping to rectify more than 6 months after the bid closure, the bid submission deadline. That's what I'm putting to you. Do you want to respond to that?
That's incorrect.
Well, before I ask you to amplify, let me take you to a further set of chats. Can we then go to page 530? And there you will see from chat number 3 all the way through to the next page, there are a series of pictures that the General sends you. And what those pictures are you'll see at pages 616 onwards. So let's go to 616, because then we can actually see what the General sent you. The first picture is a picture at page 616, and it's a picture of your brother's certificate of registration with the Security Industry Regulatory Authority. You see it?
That's correct.
Recall that the CFO said that we, in other words, Tswani, need grade A.
That's correct.
Let's look at the next one. Next page, page 217. This is a letter of good standing, and from 617, the next page. All of these pages will be sequential. If you look at the directors of the company, your brother is listed as the only director, and on the far right, his training status is grade B. And you'll recall that the requirement was for grade A. You recall that?
I don't know if I understand maybe this certificate correctly, but according to me here, I see grade A, B, C, D, E. In page 617.
No, Captain, those are the registered employees, so the active employees of the company.
Okay.
Advocate, just maybe they can put it up. It was up on the screen.
No, it's fine here.
You can see it here, yeah. So what he's talking about is just below grade A, B, C, D, E is the director's name or the member's name. And then it has your brother as the only director. And if you follow that line to the extreme right, his training status is then B. That's the one he's referring to.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Then if we go over the page, we see that someone has helpfully listed 6 different issues of non-compliance on a post-it stamp. The first is that the certificate, the PSIRA company certificate is not certified, the company is not certified. The second is that the director is grade B. The third is that the letter of good standing is also indicating grade B. The fourth, firearms, no licensed firearm registration. Fifth, no proof that you are up to date with Provident Fund, that would be Provident Fund contributions. The sixth, I don't fully understand, it says SOP, check pages 10, 13, and 19. Let's go to the next page because it doesn't stop at 6, in fact it goes on to 12. The seventh is to do with an INCASA lease agreement or an INCASA license, which apparently was missing. The eighth was that there was no bank rating. The ninth was that there was no list of tools and vehicles or photographs of tools and vehicles. The 10th was that there was no reference provided, no references and no experience indicated. The 11th was that the wrong CSD report was attached. And the 12th was that there were no rates and taxes clearance certificates from, well, the company was in arrears and hadn't shown a lease, and there was no rates and taxes certificate supplied in relation to the director. So there were 12 independent grounds on which your brother's bid should have been disqualified, I want to put to you. What's your response to that?
That's not true.
Well, let's move on. Let's go to 620. Let's look at the CSD registration report that was provided. The CSD registration report, at least according to whoever prepared this list, was not for your brother's company, it was for a company called Gabela 2 Trading and Projects. You see that?
That's correct.
If we go back to 531, there was a separate problem, which the General pointed out to you.
That is 500 then?
31. There at the top of 531, you'll see that the General also pointed out, and this was on the 24th of April 2025, more than 6 months after the bid submission deadline, that there was no auditor's letter. So what I want to put to you is the following propositions. I'll put them sequentially and then you can respond to them one after the other. Let me put them all to you. The first is that your brother's bid was manifestly non-compliant and should have been disqualified on any one of 12 different grounds. That's the first. The second is that you, the General, and the CFO conspired to ensure that this manifestly non-compliant bid was nonetheless awarded the tender. The fourth is that you achieved that outcome by impermissibly altering the bid and supplementing the bid at a date more than 6 months after the bid submission deadline, at which point no additional documents and no changes ought to have been capable of being made to the bid. And the last proposition is that this entire process was orchestrated in a manner that the CFO and the General never communicated directly with each other in a manner that would leave an electronic trail of what they were doing, but instead communicated indirectly through you. So those are the propositions. The first one is that your brother's bid ought to have been disqualified on any one of 12 different independent grounds. What's your response to that?
Firstly, the statement that you just uttered is false. Myself, the CFO, and the General did not orchestrate anything. According to me, or my understanding, by the time when my brother submitted such documents for the tender that was closed 6 months before, all the documents were there because were compiled by the tender document specialist. So there is no way on earth that 6 months later or 6 months down the line, there were going to be documents that are not there. According to me now, or the way it happened here, I did not ask for the General's intervention in terms of communicating with Nico only on the Tshwane project. Even in other provinces, this project was merely or barely meant for Mpumalanga, Matthew Posa municipality, or mall, something like that.
But Sergeant, why would the General Dlamini be talking to you about, in this kind of detail, telling you that the tender is the respects in which the tender is non-compliant? Why would he be telling you that in respect of Mpumalanga tender? And why are you talking to the CFO about it?
Okay, it was the matter of knocking doors, Commissioner, that my brother don't know, places or people in wherever other than Tshwane. So I'm bringing this to the Commission that the reason this was done later, it is not because they were edits to file that already the project was closed. It's the ongoing project. Ongoing project.
Are you saying now that General Dlamini was also assisting your brother to prepare tender documents? It's no longer Nico now.
No. I'm not saying that,
Yes.
Commissioner. I'm saying through General Dlamini, Nico is the one who's doing all the documents. Now, the General makes sure, because if he's the one who recommended Nico, that Nico does what is expected of him. With regards to this project, there is no way that my brother's company would have short of papers 6 months later. There is no way.
Okay, let's take one example. The certificate that has been given is, shows a grade B,
Yes.
I think, training. It shows that. And you have a message which says we need grade A guards. That's what you get told. We need grade A guards. Now, explain why this has to do with Mpumalanga, with the Mpumalanga tender coming from General Dlamini. General Dlamini says we need grade A. We know he's in Tshwane. We know you're talking to the CFO
That's
of
correct.
Tshwane. What does this have to do? We need a grade A. What does it have to do with Mpumalanga? Or these two people, what do they have to do with Mpumalanga?
Okay. According to me now, or what transpired, the general received this message from Nico. That is now what I'm thinking. Now, the CFO is going to knock on the doors in Mpumalanga, but it was not all about the Tshwane project because already it was closed 6 months prior.
Now, if the general received this from Nico, why is, because you said Nico is assisting your brother. He's not assisting the general. That's your evidence.
That's correct.
He's assisting your brother with tenders. Why would Nico send this to the general instead of to your brother? Because according to you, your brother is being assisted by Nico. He was, in fact, I think you said, Nico or your brother was referred to Nico.
That's correct.
To assist him. Why is the general involved with this?
Now, General is involved because if I ask him to intervene between Peggy and Nico, and I assume that the reason that Nico was sending the general now is because maybe Peggy was playful or was not taking serious or was too busy. I might not know. That is the reason when you find in previous chart, I will say to the general, can you please intervene between Nico and Peggy so that there must be a progress. But I still stand by my statement that when that project was closed, my brother had already complied with everything. So this is an ongoing application of other tenders.
Thank you.
Can I put one last question, or one last set of questions to you, Sergeant? We know your brother's company was awarded the tender. Did El Shaddai get the tender also?
According to me, yes.
What about Gubis?
I don't know.
I want to put it to you that Gubis did get the tender as well. I want to put to you something that I would seek your comment on, because if you go back to page 177,
Which file?
file 1. You'll see that on the 25th of March,
That is 177.
177.
Okay.
On the 25th of March, when you forwarded to the CFO the list of vehicles for land to be given in order of priority, there were 7 companies which did not include Gubis. You recall that?
That is the 25th of March, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
What also happened on the 25th of March